It's okay to not be okay. Just take the next step. Hi, I am Joshua Brzezinski, Project Superintendent, and I'm here to have one of the toughest conversations that we can have, and that is to talk about suicide. I have lost a father, a nephew, multiple friends. I have lost 4 family members in a year and a half. I have found a young man floating in a lake by one of my job sites. During that time, I experienced a car accident, but also all of that trauma led into this spot here. This is where one journey ended and one journey began. On the last Saturday of October of 2021, pitch black out, I came to this spot. This is the spot to where my mind was made up. This is where I was going to get rid of the pain and the darkness. So I made a video. It was an instructional farewell video to my family. And it wouldn't send. It was too large. So I watched it to see how I could edit it. During the time of watching it, it changed something. I was watching a man that was so broken, that was so alone, I didn't even recognize him. It wasn't that I wanted to die. It really wasn't. It was the pain. That pain is something. It holds you, and it holds your throat and your mouth, and you can't breathe. And so many times during this process, you hear people on the whys. They knew they were loved and everything else, but really comes down to is that even though I knew my wife was right there, I couldn't see her. I couldn't hear the words, "I love you," because the darkness wouldn't allow that. So to continue, I was watching my own video, and I watched it for 25 times in a row. And that night, you can't begin to understand, I can't even begin to explain what had happened. It was like one part of my journey ended and another one began. That night, I actually went back to my wife and I told her about the events. And at that moment, I was actually open-minded and my heart opened up to the possibilities of, am I alone? And she had mentioned to me that, you know what, get in this bed, I love you, and I will take care of you. And that's where I felt, you know what, let's give it a try. So during this time, I was actually a superintendent on a project, a school, and the superintendent at that time is obviously now one of my closest, most beautiful friends. And one day I went into her office and she knew something was off. And she goes, "How's it going?" And I says, "Well, everything's fine. We're meeting schedule and everything else like that." And then she asked again, "That's not what I mean. How are you doing?" And I lost it. I'm a grown man. I'm a superintendent of a huge company, and I lost it. I lost it. But at that moment, my journey started because for about 3 months, this beautiful woman owed me nothing, but she would meet me once a day, 4 to 5 times a week, and just talk. But she kept always saying something that always resonated with me, and that was, just take the next step. But then I took that even a step further. Instead of worrying about the minute, the day, what about the moment? And I'm like, you know what? I can do this. I want to live. It's okay to not be okay. Just take the next step. But I am going to tell you something, that if you carry that darkness and you take that first step and pull your head off of that pillow, that is strength. You get out of bed to face the day, that is strength. You don't give yourself enough credit for how strong you actually are. Throughout all of this, I actually have a beautiful platform to work with. I'm a project superintendent. And realizing that my team members outside of work are battling their own darkness, their own pain. But what I do is create a safe space. That project that I'm a part of, that team that I'm a part of, I give everybody a voice. I tell them, you have a voice. You always can talk to me. Because in the end, we succeed together and we fail together, but we're gonna do it together. In September of 22, Miron sent out an email, talked about statistics, how many amazing people that we're losing or almost lost in the construction industry, outside the construction industry. And I embraced that. That email just said, it started something with me. And I didn't know what it was until I came to my spot. I had avoided this spot for almost a year. Almost a year later, I came back to the same spot, and it was in the light. And I made a video, and it was telling a brief 28 seconds of my journey. And I was scared to share that. I watched it 30 times. Then I pressed send, share, and who cares? I wanted to bring light to it. We've lost too many. I've lost too many. I almost lost myself. I had people messaging me and replying, thank you. That was strength to be able to share that. Thank you. But yet to share their own stories of their darkness. And that's when I realized I was healing. Me telling my story connected me with others with the same story. During my journey, made a video in the dark, but a video in the light to help bring awareness, to have that hard conversation, to have the conversation that so many people don't want to have, but it is time. It is time. And you're not alone. And I'm hoping that me standing here, telling my story, shows you that you're not. We can do this. Now more than ever, we need to be there for each other. We need to start the conversation and keep it going. We can do this together. And there are a lot of resources out there, but it takes your strength that you already have to start it. And the journey, you know what? Give it a chance. Give it a chance. Take the next step. Live for that moment. Because I'm going to tell you, taking the next step turns into a mile, turns into 1,000 miles. Living for that moment turns into a minute, turns into an hour, turns into a lifetime. That's the key. That moment, you get enough of them, turns into a lifetime. I'm a man. I am a superintendent. Right? But you know what? I matter. How I feel matters. How you feel matters. Your voice matters. Together we can do this. Let's start the conversation. I am Josh Brzezinski, and this is my story.